What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to the show. Ryan and Greg here as always, and I'm very excited to have our next guest on the show. It's Lee McHugh, who you can see fight next on August the 2nd at CES 78 when he takes on Nuridiin Abrar. Lee, how are you?
I'm doing well, staying active.
Well, we're excited to see you back in there, man. Greg and I were lucky enough to commentate your fight against Brett Martin, so we know just how tough you are, just how good you are, man. So we're excited to see you fight for CES, another tough opponent on your hands. Tell me a little bit about camp thus far, how it's been, and if there's been anything different as far as preparations go for this opponent.
Um, I stay training throughout the year, but I work pro time and I'm in school full time, so haven't been able to train as much. But it's the summertime, so I've been getting in my doubles, getting more training throughout the week. So I'm ready to get some fights and just been more active in the gym mostly. Less time dedicated to work or studies.
Do you have specific training partners at your gym? It's Mongoose Training Academy, correct?
No, I'm not. I train at Team Mongoose sometimes. That's not my gym.
So what is your gym?
I'm Team Savage and Black Wolf Martial Arts.
Okay. So you bounce around a little bit. How often are you at Mongoose?
I go to Mongoose maybe like once a month or sometimes twice a month. I haven't been there in a little while, but my coach Randy, the student at Mongoose, was one of Randy's previous students, so we work with him sometimes.
Gotcha. Is Randall Rowe, is he the one that was screaming cage side against your fight against Brett Martin? Because you had someone there that was really loud. You could hear him more than anyone in the arena.
That's Randall Rowe for you.
That must be nice, right? To have a coach so invested, someone that obviously, I mean, when you're in the middle of things, it can get hectic in there. To be able to hear your coach is important. I mean, sometimes
Yep.
depending on where you're at, you can't really hear them if the arena is so loud. It must be nice to have someone that can get as boisterous as he can.
Oh yeah, definitely. Little video game controller, right?
Right. So, as far as training partners go, anyone specific to get you ready for Abra, anyone that could kind of mimic his style?
um, you know, my I work with my buddy Joe at my gym in Waterbury. He's a little bit more lengthy, his height, and he moves very well. He's similar to his build, and I work with a few taller guys. I've been dropping in at a few other gyms, working with their lengthy people. But probably my main training partner, Joe. I got some guys at Black Wolf too, some lighter, smaller guys that move a lot quicker than me that I've been working with.
Well, your opponent, he's 3-3 now. He's got 2 submission victories. Do you feel like, is that where he's best at? Is he going to try and get this fight to the ground?
I mean, I guess according to his record, they would say that, but I really don't know really what to look out for. I'm here to put on a performance, right? It's been a year since I fought Brett, so I'm ready to get out there and put it on the line.
Is any
But,
I'm sorry.
but I would guess that would most likely be his game plan, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I alluded to, seeing his record and whatnot. Is there a specific reason for the layoff why you didn't fight in the last year?
That's school. You know what? When you're studying and when you're working, trying to fight the stress of a fight, it's I don't know. You might be able to ask any fighter this. Any good fighter, it's not a good mix. If you're gonna fight, that should be like your primary focus. If you're studying and working, it's like a hard mix to do all three. Maybe if you could do two, if you're just working or fighting or studying and fighting, all right. Or best of all, if you're just fighting, that's the goal, I guess, when you're pro. Been the main thing. But I never stopped training. That's mandatory.
No doubt. I know Greg has a couple of questions for you.
Yeah, hey man, how's it going?
How's it going, Greg?
It's good, man. Yes, I was impressed with your fight with Brett Martin. Showed really a lot about how tough you are, man. It was a war. Also, Randy Rowe, man, he's one of my buddies from back in the day. He's an absolute legend, man. That dude's been around for at least 20 years, maybe 25, right?
Longer than I've been alive.
I was so happy. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I got to catch up with him that day too, backstage, and we hadn't seen each other in a long time, so that was awesome. Yeah, my question, I think you fluctuate between grappling and also MMA. If the pay was the same and the notoriety was the same, obviously, if you're a top level UFC fighter, you're going to get paid more these days. But if the pay was the same, what would you rather be a superstar in, MMA or grappling?
You know what? I love jujitsu, and it's the original thing I've done. I love grappling as well. I love wrestling, sambo, all of that, judo. But I have to say MMA. Like, I mean, I feel like it's the realest thing you get to a street fight. There's guys that are purple belts that freaking get in street fights and get fucked up. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but not shitting on, the grappling arts. That's like my original base and stuff. And it's important, teach you how to restrain an opponent. And I would like to do both, but unfortunately, when you're doing other stuff, it's easier to focus on one thing, than focus on both
yeah.
sports.
You got a lot going on, man. You fought Yuri Panarov, who is, and you fought him to a draw, I believe, right?
Yeah.
In your first pro grappling. What was that level like? The level between amateur, because that was your first pro grappling match. Did you recognize that as being like a totally different level of grappler? Yuri's a monster. Yuri got into the Contender Series. I managed to call one of his fights also. The one before when Dana White was there, I was calling that fight. He's a beast, man. What was that like? Different level?
That was almost 2 years ago. And to be honest with you, I've been rolling a long time, like since I
Yeah.
was 12. I'm 22 now. So honestly, he just felt like a little bit of a bigger guy. And he some stuff he overpowered me, but obviously he wasn't worth the sub. He got close to it, I remember at the end, but it just felt like me wrestling around with a bigger guy.
Right.
That's it. Like slightly bigger, a little bit stronger.
And you
But,
say you're a student, so obviously you're in college. Is that right?
yes, sir.
Are you a student of the martial arts like BJJ too? Because I noticed some like Carlson Gracie stuff on your one of your pages. Are you a student of like the history of BJJ at all?
Not any classes. I mean, I've done my own self study and heard from my, my coaches in the past, but I don't think there's
Yeah.
classes in college for it. If there was one, I'd probably be teaching. I mean, I'm a jiu-jitsu brown belt.
Yeah. Do you geek out over like the history of it from what you hear and love it?
Um, Maybe not really.
Yeah.
Not
So
really, not.
maybe making your own history, making up your own, making your
Yeah.
history right now. What about your most important instructor? Is Randy the guy who's changed your life the most?
You know what? All my instructors, Randy's definitely been someone that's been with me for a minute. My other instructors, I got Alberto. He's also been with me since I was very young. You probably haven't heard him in the picture. I've had other instructors in the past that were very important, but these two guys have been with me for a while and have invested a good amount in me and been there for me. But definitely when it comes to my attitude, probably, and the way I act, you're going to have to give the caveman to Randy. Randy brings the caveman out.
Yeah. That makes a
And
lot of
not
sense
just
knowing
fighting in
Randy, man. I
multiple
know I
ways.
know Randy.
Yo,
Yeah, that's cool. Well, look, man, I wish you a lot of luck. You got a lot of experience for a guy that's 22 years old, man. You've been around and been doing it a while. So I look forward to watching you turn pro in MMA and looking forward to seeing you do some more grappling, man. Can't wait.
definitely. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
And Lee, I wanted to ask you too, because obviously, as I mentioned earlier, we were cage side for your fight with Brett Martin. Got a lot of respect for you as a mixed martial artist. I mean, I know Brett pretty well. He's a dog. I mean, you clearly are as well. Run me through that fight. Looking back on it now, I mean, it seems like I thought you could have won the first 2 rounds, and then maybe he got the last three. Was it a cardio thing? Was that the kind of maybe the reason that you point towards as to losing that fight?
You know what? Thinking about it, I think if it was a 3-round fight, I probably would have won. It was most definitely my cardio. Because if you look towards the end, I gas, and it's me. I'm used to grappling being planted on my feet. So me moving a little bit more on my feet. If you watch the end of the fight, like the end of the 5th round, that's when I did the most damage to Brett.
Mhm.
So it's like, and this like I got back on my feet. I got back active. So it's like if I could do the most damage in the 5th round at the end, was it not there the entire fight?
I have to imagine too, like you got a lot of respect for Brett after sharing the cage with him
But
for 25 minutes. Do you kind of, I guess, build friendships after
definitely,
going through something like that?
yo, definitely.
So have you spoken to him much at all? Like, do you guys keep in
You
touch?
know what? Believe it or not, we'll freaking once in a while we'll send each other dumb memes. Believe it or not, or some fight stuff. But once in a while, yeah, maybe about once or twice a month, he'll get a text from me. I'll get a text from him. But yeah, he's cool. I seen him at, I think it was the Combat FC show, maybe like a few weeks or a month after my fight. We watched, enjoyed the show.
Okay. Very cool, man.
But
Well, I have a little bit of a surprise for you today. We're doing a podcast where we're doing our UFC 304 picks. And Brett has been hounding me wanting to get on and do some predictions here. So joining the show right now is Brett Martin.
What's going on, caveman?
how's it going, Brett?
Dude, good to see you.
Good seeing you too.
Dude, we switched our hairstyles.
Yeah, right. The dreads are gone, and you grew out your hair. Shit.
Oh,
Is,
man.
is it kind of surreal for the both of you guys? I mean, again, that was one of the best fights that I've seen here regionally, a title fight. I mean, both of you guys, very well-rounded fighters. You go in there, you fight a very close fight for 25 minutes, and now here you are a year later. Can you just kind of let me just ask you, Brett? I've been talking with Lee here about his upcoming fight. Just run me through, your emotions. Talking to him now, looking back on that special fight that you guys shared.
Yeah, no, it was really important to me to have that fight in general, getting to test like Lee and it was actually really cool because me and Lee went and hung out at I forget which card it was there. You were cornering there, Lee. But we had a couple drinks and stuff like that. Me, Felipe, and Lee got to all hang out at I think it was the Combat FC fights there a couple weeks after. And it was really cool because I think it's really important to have those positive relationships after you fight, like not leaving any of that negative stuff after the fact. And me and Lee were just talking about literally like round by round the fight and like breaking stuff down, how we approached each other and stuff like that. And I thought that was a really, really great experience. Not only just like, again, making sure there's no bad blood and we're both just like on good terms, but like growing as fighters and talking about like approaches and stuff like that we were doing going into that fight and like game plans as they changed. And so Lee has a ton of experience. He has more experience than I do, and like at a much younger age too. And so like being able to have that was huge, not only in the cage but after the fact as well.
I think the one big thing that stands out to me just watching that fight, I rewatched it again recently before this interview. And Lee, Brett has changed his name to Mad Eye Martin since then. That's his new nickname. Did you ever kind of look across the cage and be like, this guy's crazy? Look at him like bouncing around, looking like a madman over there.
You know what? He did look for. I remember him from fighting. It's hard to think. He did look, I guess, a little bit like a sniper. But you know me, I'm tough. So it's it's when another man staring me down. I mean, where I grew up in Waterbury. I've had people eyeing me down all the time. So it's like it could be a little bit normal, but he definitely was giving me that look, like,
Yeah.
But man on a mission.
Would you guys agree that each of you is one another's toughest opponent to date?
Oh yeah, that most definitely. It's no. I knew going into that fight too. It was gonna be. And it changed how I approached it too. Like I was really happy that it was a 5-round fight because I was like, dude, like I'm watching him. I'm like creeping on his Instagram and stuff like that, and he's like pulling, like 580 for reps and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to try to suck the wind out of him because like there's like he's gonna throw me around the ring otherwise. So definitely as far as just like pure skill level, his grappling is fantastic. He's super dangerous on the feet. So not only going in there and testing the well-roundedness of a fighter like Lee, but also just getting that like the full 5 rounds of experience. That cage time is like you can't compare, and that's honestly why I think like Lee's gonna run through this guy he's about to go against, because like the guy's going up a weight class against the experience that Lee has against like high caliber people. I don't think it's going to be a question what he's going to do to him. So
Greg, I know you have something else for Lee about this upcoming fight. I want to circle back and get like a prediction and how you see this fight going with Nuridiin Abrar. Lee, again, August 2nd, CES 78. Greg, why don't you go ahead and ask him a couple things before we put a bow on it?
Yeah, no, I don't have too much else. Just, I wish him a lot of luck. Brett, what's up, man? I haven't seen Brett in a while. I love Brett Martin. He's one of the truly nicest guys in MMA on fight nights, or even when he's not fighting. It's always good to hang out with Brett. Yeah, Lee, not too much else, man. Just if there's what's your favorite way to win a grappling match? What's your go-to? What's your preference? Like, I know nobody goes in. You go in with a light game plan, but how do you like to get the things done on the mat?
Honestly, for a grappling match, I don't like just getting the sub right away and subbing someone. I like to like fuck around with them and like piss them off and irritate. Like I like to make it like a game, and then I catch a stupid sub by accident. I mean, high level grapplers, they're going in, they're predicting their subbing or getting it. But for me, I like to make it fun. Like I did a grappling match. It was actually my first time competing as a brown belt. And the whole time I was just fucking around with the guy. I was walking on him from turtle, tossing him around. But it was EBI roll, so he started me in an armbar and he armbarred me. But it was fun to throw him around the whole time, even though I lost.
Right. You know what, man? I like that. You strike me as an intelligent guy. You go into school. You're hardworking. You put the work in on your body, your mind. I think you're going to be a dangerous dude in the next couple of years. And I'd love to see a rematch with you and Brett Martin in the pro ranks someday. The camaraderie, just for the sake of sportsmanship, see you two guys bang it out, hug it out afterwards would be a sick match, So let's hope that gets set up sometime.
Is
and
that
thanks
something?
for joining, man.
Absolutely. Is that something that the both of you would accept if the right promotion, the right time came about and they wanted you guys to fight in the pro ranks? Would you fight, or are you too close now where you're like, you know what, I'm going to wait and take on someone else?
I mean, fight's a fight. I'm always down to have fun.
You feel the same way, Brett?
Yeah, like the way I've said this before too. It's like I don't go into this sport with any hatred, Like I would rather fight someone I respect than someone that I want to inflict damage on. I think damage is just part of the sport, and that's where it should lead. Like my next fight is going to be against someone I respect as well. It's like I think it's sport at the end of the day. I have all but love for Lee. So if he won the fight and it was mutual, then that's what it is. But I've also had people who asked to run it back as well, and they're like, and it just like wasn't the same feeling, because they needed that hatred, and obviously I'm not gonna give them a reason to. So, but yeah, like I know you're out here picking fights for us, Ryan, but
no. Hey, Greg mentioned the blame it on Greg. He's the one that said go fight in the pros. I'm pointing it at you, Greg. I don't want either one of these guys mad at me.
If I was to fight Brett, it'd have to be like we'd have to already be pros, and it'd have to be something commercialized. Like, oh, let's see these two main event amateurs who fought a 5-minute round in the past compete again.
Yeah. Make it worthwhile. Make it worthwhile for the hype and stuff like that. No, I agree. Yeah, especially because neither of us are really like talkers to hype up our own fights. I don't think we kind of just go. Yeah. So It's like we would need that in order to do it for us.
Well, both of you guys have extremely bright futures. There's no doubt about that. Lee, to get back to this matchup with Abrar, one thing that sticks out to me is two of his losses are to Brody McDougal and Muhammad Al-Kanani. So he's been in there with some high-level opposition. How dangerous is this guy? I mean, is he better than his 3-3 record says he is?
I mean, I know guys with terrible records that spank me in the gym, so you can't always give things to the record. I know he's been training for some time. I'm guessing he has a BJJ base. I know he's done some grappling matches, so he's definitely good. And he has a title. I'm pretty sure he has an ammo title. I think my first fight, he was doing a title fight against some dude and beat him years ago for Ammo Fight League, which is no longer there. But I don't know. I guess I'll leave that up to what happens in the cage until what the spectators and the audience thinks beforehand, my coaches, right?
Do you have an official prediction, like when you close your eyes at night before you go to bed and you envision how this fight plays out? Do you think you finish this early?
I mean, hell yeah, I do. I think that about all my fights, though. So, you know, and
All
I think
right.
the thing for me is like I treat all my fights like I'm going 100%. But sometimes I have a hard time. Everybody's scared when they fight, but me sometimes I don't feel scared because I train all the time. So it's like if someone's not training, you know, they're gonna feel scared all the time. But I'm always training. I know I put in the work and I trust in my work. But I don't know when the time comes, the night of some people, I guess the night before for their fight, what this happened before, they don't get no sleep, and there's times for me where I get sleep right away. Like Brett's scary as hell, but I fell asleep the night before, like easy, and I was like, "Oh, this is strange," but I don't know if that comes with experience or what.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I think I'd be popping Tylenol PM to make sure I tried to get some sleep before a fight with either one of you killers. Lee, before we get out of here, man, obviously you're still so young. You don't have to turn pro anytime soon, but like, have you thought about that? Like, how many more fights would you like to get? Was there a time frame?
So my deal is, I'm in school right now. I just got nursing school, so I'm gonna be doing that for 2 years. So I really don't want to fight during my study time, but my time where I will fight is either during my December breaks or during summer, because that's when I'll have the time. So if the right pro card pops up between any of those times, or even an amateur fight, if I'm after this fight, I'm only doing one more amateur. I won't do another amateur after this. If I do one more, it'll be one after this fight. But if the right pro fight pops up, where it's gonna, help me patent my record, get myself up there in December throughout the summer, next summer, I'm cool with it. And I'll take like 3 or 4 fights within a summer if I have to,
Well,
because
man,
I'm
we're
always training, but I can't always fight because a fight is another type of stress.
For sure. There's no doubt about that. We're excited to see you back in there, man. Again, August the 2nd, CES 78. Lee McHugh makes his return to action against Nuridiin Abrar. I really appreciate the time today, Lee. Thank you for joining us. Before we let you go, if there's anything you want to plug or anyone you want to thank, any sponsors or anything like that, the floor is yours.
Shout out to everybody I've been training with. Shout out to Black Wolf. Shout out to Team Savage. I've been working at FA a little bit. Shout out to some of those guys. You mentioned Team Mongoose. I haven't seen them in a little bit, but I'll give them a shout out as well.
Well, again, best of skill come fight night, and come back and join us again soon.
Thank you, sir.
And here is our next guest, Mr. Giuliano Rossi, who's joined here by Brett Martin to preview this huge UFC 304 card, guys. Edwards versus Muhammad 2. We also have Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades fighting for a second time. That first fight ended very prematurely. Giuliano, you just jumped down, so let me start with you, man. Is there a certain fight that you have circled that you're most excited to look forward to and see?
Yeah, it's gonna be the main event, Leon versus Bilal. I think that's gonna be a good fight. Bilal, he's a very heavy wrestling base. Leon, obviously the striker. So we'll see if Bilal can take Leon down, and if he does get him down, can he hold him down? Or if not, will Leon just keep it on the feet and piece him up?
Well, right now, Leon Edwards is a minus 250 favorite. Bilal Muhammad, a plus 210 dog. Brett, what do you think we're going to see in this main event fight?
It's hard to put any money against Leon after the wrestlers he's already fought, and just the way he's kind of won those fights too. Out cardioing Kobe. That second fight against Kamaru, and just like how kind of dominant he was throughout. He's just fought so many wrestlers that have good striking as well. I don't really see how Bilal takes it unless he catches him with something really clean. Leon's just developed. I think he's right now at that kind of pinnacle of his career, and I think the only way he gets beat by Bilal is if he's like showing signs of decline. Like Bilal is fantastic. His wrestling is amazing. He's shown to be extremely three-dimensional, but I just don't know what he's going to bring that these previous challengers haven't. And obviously we're looking at it Raw because their first fight ended prematurely. But you know, I'm hoping that Bilal is going to mix it up and make it very interesting. But I think Leon is going to snipe and sprawl and brawl and just kind of steal it that way. So
that's exactly kind of where I'm leaning and what I'm thinking. Greg, right now, again, Leon Edwards, pretty big favorite, minus 250. Bilal Muhammad hasn't lost since 2019 when Jeff Neal beat him via unanimous decision. Does he keep this win streak going, or does Leon remain the champ?
You know, that's the question. And I just got to say before we get into this, I'm going to have my picks posted on the end of the website. A little bit of a technical difficulty here, but we're going to get my picks posted. But Bilal Muhammad finds a way to get things done all the time. I always bet against him. I used to bet against him a lot, and he always used to frustrate me because it's like, oh, this dude's going to lose. He's going to lose, and he always finds a way to win. It seems like. So that's one of my underdog picks is going to be Muhammad in this fight. I think he just finds a way to get it done. Like Brett said, he's three-dimensional, you know? So he's not just a one-trick pony. He gets it done, and he gets it done in a bunch of different ways. So looking forward to that fight for sure.
But do you think if he wins, it would be decision? I mean, I don't necessarily see him finishing Leon. Do you think it would go the distance?
Yeah, I think if I was going to bet that, I'd bet a decision for Muhammad, which odds probably won't be too great. I mean, I know he's the dog, but I don't know. Yeah, I have to take a look at that. I'm not going to put any money on him getting a KO or a sub.
Right. Yeah, it's still real early in the week, so we don't have a lot of the prop bets that are up just yet. Just the money lines. All right, so can I call you Jules? Do people call you Jules? Your friends ever call you Jules?
No, don't call him Jules. That's my wife's name, man.
Oh, okay. I just feel like it's easier. I feel like I always want to call you Jules rather than Giuliano. It's like short. It's like Julian.
Call him G. Just call him G.
Okay.
Call him G.
All right, G. So are you leading Leon? Are you official? Is that your pick?
Yeah. I've never liked Bilal. So, and I think Leon is just gonna be the better striker. I think he's gonna keep it on the feet. I think he's gonna use kicks to the body to keep him at distance and just kind of pick him apart with the jab cross, body kick, jab cross, body kick, sprawl, and stay away from the cage.
All right. So G is going with Leon to retain. B, where are you going on this one? You're still sticking with Leon?
Sorry, it's B me. I've never been called that before. Yeah, no, I've got Leon more than likely by decision, I think.
Okay, that's where I'm going to. The Kaze Kingpin is going with the upset and Bilal Muhammad. Let's move to the co-main guys. Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blades. Tom Aspinall, a pretty big favorite, minus 350. Curtis Blades, plus 285 as your dog. Brett, let me start with you on this one here first. Are you leaning Tom Aspinall to keep that interim belt around his waist, or you think Curtis Blades gets it done?
Man, I like Curtis Blades a lot. I think he's one of the most entertaining heavyweights. Like his ground and pound is vicious, and like I think he's just an extremely fun fighter to watch. But I don't know how he beats Aspinall right now. Like, so Aspinall has 3 losses. One was by a heel hook early in his career. Second was by DQ because he did an illegal 12-6 elbow. And then the third was against Curtis, injuring himself. So what I see being a huge problem is Blades seems like his losses come from really technical strikers. Technical or power strikers, you could say. And I think Aspinall not only has shown that he has that striking capability, but also has the ground capability on top of it. I mean, look what he did to Pavlovich. Like Pavlovich was like the boogeyman going in, and I was like, oh, this is going to be the exposure to Aspinall. Like he's going to be proven wrong because like Pavlovich is just running through people. and he dominated him. Like he just picked him apart and finished him. And so I think, you know, if Blades can get him to the ground and hold him there, he'll do a lot of damage, has the potential to cut him open and get a stoppage. But I truly think that Aspinall is going to be able to put his hands on them and kind of dictate the pace, probably with a TKO finish in like the second round, is my guess.
Greg, what are you thinking?
I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Aspinall as well, probably in the second or third round, late KO. Yeah, he's kind of like this unlikely hero guy. You know, like you look at him and you don't think, kind of like Bilal Muhammad, like this guy's never gonna get it, but he gets it done. He always gets it done, and he's got a really high fight IQ, you know, and some great experience. So yeah, I'm gonna go same as Brett, probably a second round KO for Aspinall, second or third.
And Giuliano, I love Tom Aspinall in this fight. Are you going to make it a clean sweep? Are you going with Aspinall?
Yeah, I think Aspinall's going to win by KO. I think he's going to do it in the first round. I think he's going to touch him up early. I just don't think Curtis Blades has that good of a chin anymore. And I think Aspinall's just so light on his feet with his jab cross. He darts in and out so quick. He's like the heavyweight version of Robert Whittaker. So
And I love Bobby Knuckles.
Early.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I love Aspinall. I think he gets it done in the first or the second. I did see the prop bets for this fight. In the second round, Aspinall was at like plus 600 or 650. The first round was only like plus 110. So the second round is where the money is if you go with Aspinall by TKO. So I'm probably going to lay a little coin on that one there. We'll keep it moving, guys. Bobby Green and Paddy Pimblett is up next. Paddy Pimblett is the underdog right now, plus 105. Bobby Green, the veteran. I think he's almost 40 years old, minus 125 as the favorite. If this goes the distance and it's a competitive fight, make no mistake about it. The judges are going to give it to Paddy Pimblett. I feel like Bobby Green has to maybe finish him to win this fight or just be clearly dominant throughout the 15 minutes of it. Greg, let me start with you first. What do you think we're going to see here in this very interesting matchup of bad blood between these two?
Yeah, Bobby Green all the way. First round or second round. I think Paddy Pimblett, you know, fighting such a psychological sport. And I think Paddy came on the scene, you know, and psychologically he was just on fire. But I think that runs out. I mean, not to take anything away from him, but you know, the fuel that fires you up in the beginning was kind of magical. I think you're going to see that juice kind of deplete and run out. So I'm going with Bobby Green in this one, probably in the early rounds, 1 or 2.
Giuliano, what's your pick?
I think Paddy Pimblett. I think I'm gonna go with Paddy Pimblett because I believe he's a little bit more diverse than Bobby Green. Bobby Green's kind of I don't know. I just think he's older. I don't think he's gonna be as quick, but he is durable. But I think Paddy's just gonna have the energy from England in there with him, push him a little bit further to probably finish Bobby Green.
Okay. Going with the finish, Paddy Pimblett. Brett, do you feel like Paddy Pimblett pulls the small betting upset here?
Man, I used to be a Paddy Pimblett fan, and the last 3 fights have been miserable. Like, it's just been not fun to watch. Like, I think he's in a really tough spot where he needs to go out and get a finish because he's already lost a lot of fans just with the kind of like squeaking out decision late, like laying on his opponent wins. And Bobby Green's not going to let him do that. Like, Bobby Green will talk to him and like kind of embarrass him. Even if he's losing, we'll try to embarrass him in there. If I was a betting person, I have Paddy by decision. I'm cheering for Bobby Green by finish, though, likely TKO.
So if you are a betting person, are you saying you're not a betting person? You don't put any money down on the fights?
No, I'm poor.
Okay, fair enough. Well, hey, betting is gambling, right? So you can't take chances on losing money, especially with how much we all love the sport. I could bet too much. Greg, you're well aware of that. We'll keep it moving. RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez, and Christian Leroy Duncan. This is going to be a fun one, guys. Christian Leroy Duncan, minus 145 as your favorite. RoboCop, plus 125 as your underdog. Brett, let me start with you first here. Where are you leaning in this matchup of elite strikers?
Yeah, this is one that I wish I did a little bit extra research on, and largely I didn't because after seeing RoboCop's like gashed face that one time, like I can't not cheer for him. I just think he is one of the most durable people I've ever seen. And I think when it comes to a striking battle, while Duncan might get the advantage of him in like technicality and like being more technical, I think RoboCop just grinds through and finds a way to catch him with something. So
Going with RoboCop. Giuliano, do you feel like Gregory Rodriguez gets the victory here, or will Christian Leroy Duncan improve to 4-1 in the UFC?
I think RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez is gonna win. He's sometimes he's kind of all over the place. He'll win, he'll lose. So I mean, I think if he loses, he'll probably get knocked out, but if he wins, it probably be by decision. It's like a 50-50 fighter, but I'm leaning more towards him than I am than his opponent.
This is a close one. So, Greg, let me ask you: are you going with Gregory Rodriguez, or you leaning with the favorite, Duncan?
No, I'm going to go with RoboCop. I agree with these guys. He's going to get it done. I think, this is one of my fight of the nights right here. This is going to be probably the most fun fight that's going to happen. I don't think I'm going to be up at 4 a.m. to see it happen. I think it's in London. It's like ridiculously late or early in the morning. But the replay, I can't wait to see the replay. It's going to be a fun fight. So yeah, Gregory Rodriguez.
And for what it's worth, I'm staying away from this from a betting aspect. I honestly, I agree with what you said, Giuliano. I feel like it's 50-50. Could go either way. So because of that, I'm just going to stay away and not touch this one. This next fight, though, I'm all over it. Arnold Allen, Giga Chikadze. Arnold Allen, minus 235 favorite. Giga is your dog at plus 200. I love Arnold Allen in this fight, guys. I feel like he should definitely win this fight. He can fight standing up. He can fight to the ground. I just think that he's the younger, more well-rounded fighter at this stage of their careers. I love Giga, but give me Arnold Allen all day. So, Giuliano, let me ask you first here on this one. Where are you leaning?
I'm going to go with Arnold Allen. For a long time, I thought he was going to be the new featherweight champion when he was coming up. He was very diverse. It seems like he had everything. And then he ran into Max, and Max kind of showed everyone why he's the best. But no, I think Arnold's going to get the better of Giga on Saturday.
Yeah, and Giga's almost 36. Arnold Allen just turned 30. I mean, it's not like Giga's old by any means, but do you feel like just at this stage of their careers, Brett, that Arnold Allen's just a safe play here?
yeah, I mean, Arnold Allen's a spark plug. Like he just comes out hot, and it's going to be at home for him too. I think he's just going to be really, really going out and closing the distance on Giga because I think that's really how Giga will take the fight is keeping that distance, staying at kicking range, and obviously that signature kick that he has. But I think Allen's going to he's just developed more and more and more throughout all these fights. He's taken a few losses, which I think is great for him. I think he's going to grind in on Giga, close the distance, and bang him from like close up, and like be willing to take it to the ground if it comes down to it. So
going with Arnold Allen as well. Greg, are you making a clean sweep, or are you going with Chikadze?
Yeah, well, both of these guys fought Calvin Kattar, right? Another guy ran into Max Holloway, kind of like a wood chipper, man. Yeah, I'll go with Arnold Allen. I like him better, man. I like him. Yep, I definitely think he's a smarter fighter. But should be a good fight. Should be really good.
So this is the second one we're all in agreement on. We'll keep it moving. Muhammad McHugh, Manel Kopp. This is going to be a fun one, guys. I think we're going to find out an awful lot just about how good McHugh really is. Right now, he is the favorite, minus 140. Manel Kopp plus 120 as the underdog. Greg, let me start with you first here on this one. I want to get your thoughts. I'm really intrigued by it. I feel like this is a clash of styles. If it stays standing, give me Kopp. If it goes to the ground, I mean, you got to go with McHugh. Does it stay standing, or does this hit the mat?
This goes to the ground. McHugh's going to take him to the ground and neutralize that. Obviously, it's going to be the game plan. It comes down to execution. But, yeah, I'm going McHugh. early, take him down early, and tire him out, make this, reduce the striking output by being on the ground. He's going to fight a smart fight, and this fight stays on the ground for a long time. Decision, McHugh.
Brett?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that from Greg. I think Manel is extremely talented, but I think just the pressure on the ground that McHugh is going to put on, and he did it against guys like Tim Elliott, who are like kings of scrambling and stuff like that. I think if he gets his hips over Manel, it's going to be a long night for him. So I say either late finish for McHugh or decision.
And Giuliano, do you agree with these guys? You go on McHugh?
Yeah, I am. I think he's gonna sub him rear naked choke probably in a later round. I feel like Manel thinks he's better than he actually is.
Okay, so you're not as high on Manel as a lot of others are.
No.
All right, going with McHugh. How good can
Giuliano,
McHugh? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Giuliano. I think I'm better than I am too. Just saying that, just throwing that out there. A lot of people think they're better than they are. I overestimate my skill set.
Me too.
Well, if you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to do it for you, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a Tom Brady quote. Just saying. All right, guys. Well, that covers the main card and the prelim main event fight, which is going to be McHugh and Kopp. I'm actually surprised that they moved that off the main card, but story for another day. When you look at the rest of this undercard, is there any fights that kind of stand out to you that really should be circled as far as, an exciting fight or someone that you're really confident about, someone that you feel like really should go out there and win? Giuliano, let me start with you first. When you look at the undercard, any fights that kind of stand out?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Molly McCann, Meatball Molly. She's on the later prelim card against Bruna Brasil. She's teammates with Patty Pimblett, and they're pretty close training together, always normally on the same fight card. I feel like she's probably looking for a good win here tonight, or on Saturday. But she's coming off of a win and then off of a loss. So we'll see if she's, ready to get back in the game.
Brett, ask you the same thing here. Any fights in the undercard that kind of jump off the page?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to not to copy, but obviously McCann at home is always entertaining, spinning back elbows, all that stuff. I think is going to be, she's going to go out flying like she always does. Like she, even win or loss, she's always entertaining. But there's a couple of really close light heavyweight fights. Honestly, don't know much about either of the matchups, but all I know is similar records. And usually those ones on the undercard are always the sleepers, end up being some of the best fights of the night, just absolute scraps. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on those as well.
I will say this. I just got finished interviewing Modestas Bukauskas, who fights Marcin Prachnio, to actually kick this card off. He's training with Tom Aspinall ahead of this fight, which, I mean, that says a lot right there. Some good training partners to have you get ready for a big fight. Also, he says that everything in his life is lining up right now, spiritually, mentally, physically. He's in the best place possible. So whenever I hear that from a fighter, usually they don't say it unless it's true. So I'm excited to see maybe the best version of Bukauskas against Prachnio. And I like Bukauskas, his length and how he mixes things up. So that's someone that I'm really excited to see what kind of performance he comes out and gives. Greg, when you look at the undercard, anything jump off to you? I know you're on the road right now, so you don't have it in front of you, but any fights that you remember seeing that you feel like you're excited for?
Yeah, well, look, I'll say the same thing, Giuliano. That fight, the Molly to Meatball McCann, that fight, but I'm going to go against her. So I'm going against her and Patty at the O2 Arena. Like I know it's crazy to think, but I think there's a little bit of overratedness there, and I'm going to go with Bruna. I like her. I like her a lot. So in this one, so again, another exciting fight. People laying it all on the line, and I just don't think it's going to go the way everybody thinks it is going to be this Saturday. So don't forget to bet responsibly, bet within your limits. You know what I'm saying?
Well, thank you for the reminder, Greg. If anybody needs that, it definitely is me. Sometimes I can go a little crazy on the parlays, hoping I'm going to hit it big, which I never really seem to hit it big. I'll get some wins, but nothing like too over the top. You saw what I hit last week,
Oh
so
yeah, last week you did well, and thank God for Bruno Silva. He pulled me out of a deep spot, and he was behind, and he pulled me out of a deep spot, and I had him winning in the second round. I also had him for the KO. So yeah, that was I made a little bit of money last week, but you'll get my picks. I'm going to send my picks, and we'll tack it on midweek, something like that, and see how I do.
before we get out of here today, guys, I want to circle back to both of you personally. Brett, let me start with you first. Can you give us an update as to when you're going to be fighting next?
Yeah, I'm back in action September 7th in Portland. I can't announce the opponent yet because it's not like, I mean, it's official, like signature wise, but just not official as announcement yet. Gonna be defending my belt though, and yeah, so just almost a year. And kind of I'm not a big like serendipitous guy, but my buddy Bryant Wade passed away a few months ago. um it's going to be against a former opponent of his, in the spot where we debuted back to back. So same arena, like same arena. Um, and you know, it's just like all lining up in September, which is when we debuted 3 years ago as well. So a lot of stuff just lining up. So it's going to be a cool night. And shout out to my fiance fights for Combat Zone, August 17th, against a debuter out of USMMA. So kind of two cool fights there. So
Very cool. Well, rest in peace to Bryant. That really is extremely tragic. It was awful to hear. I know you can't get into the specifics of the matchup, but do you like the matchup? Do you feel like this is going to showcase your skill set?
yeah, really fun matchup. It's someone I know personally pretty well, actually. Kind of not to like kind of like we were talking about with Lee earlier, but it's someone I really respect personally, which is the matchups I want, and just someone who's really known, like one just for how much they've developed in throughout their fights, but just overall toughness as well. This guy's just like known to be an absolute have a chin of steel, and he's gonna make me have to take chances to go the way I want. So yeah.
Very cool. Well, it's always must see TV when Brett Martin steps in the cage. Giuliano, to transition to you, my man. I don't know if you're going to be fighting again in the near future. Tell me if you are. Give us an update, and just tell me how the commentary role is going for you. I know it's something that you love doing, and you do a great job. So I'm excited to see you doing that.
Yeah, right now I'm not really too interested in fighting. I'm pretty busy with work. I'm a personal trainer and then just working out on my own. I work out all the time. But I really like the commentating side of it now. I still get to stay within the MMA, see all the fights, see all the fighters, meet all the fighters, and just have a really fun time doing what I love to do. I guess I never really thought I'd like it as much as I do, but I really enjoy it. Um, it's awesome.
Yeah, very
You're
cool,
welcome,
man.
Giuliano. You're welcome.
Yeah,
I know how much you love the sport, and that enthusiasm really carries over. And that's probably the most important thing is that enthusiasm. And you definitely have it. So yeah, good luck to you, man.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I echo that. I mean this when I say this too, Giuliano. Like you're such a nice guy. Like good things happen to good people. I'm excited to see you in this role. So continue to kill it, man. And look forward to catching up with you at some point in the near future. Both of you guys got to come back and join us and make some picks in the future. Can we have you both commit to do that?
Yeah, totally. That'd be awesome.
Cool, awesome. Well, for Greg,
Great.
Giuliano, and Brett, I am Ryan. We will see you guys next week.